Hi there, today we wanted to talk about 5 steps to full-time travel for working age professionals like us.
Yeah, where we started and how we got to where we are.
Yeah.
We're Kristen, Jameson, and Maddie. This year we're living off-grid in our motorhome full-time, adventuring up the U.S. from the Mexican to Canadian border.
I started in a traditional office when we started full-time RVing, and my thought behind that was just doing it. The motivation would be there to continue to find the remote job. And I worked that job for only,
A few months.
Yeah, I think like 3 months before, really only like a month before I actually found a remote job, and then another month or so before I started the job and actually left the country. But that's how I started, and then went into full-time remote jobs that I've been doing for the past 2 years.
Nothing like a big motorhome sitting in one place to give you the motivation to get that remote job and be able to hit the road.
And that's what worked for me, was just like that was the process that I took, was first getting the bus, and then we lived in an RV park in Phoenix where my job was. Just even see if I could live in the small space, because if it didn't, then I could always go back, but I didn't think I would and didn't.
My story's a little bit different. I have been running my own travel company, Legit Trips, for 6 years now. And the beginning stages of the company, my business partner and I were on the road full time, 200 to 250 days a year. And we both decided to buy RVs to live in just as a way to reduce our living expenses, because we were never home in our hometown, in our home country. So, we had RVs that we paid off, and rent that was, $500 or $600 a month to park the RV, and we had a place to come home to in between all of our travels. But it was just a way to reduce our expenses so that we could, feel comfortable and free to do all the traveling we needed to do to research and get our business off the ground. So for me, I bought the RV and got into it and used it as a way to, travel full-time internationally with airplanes. So today we want to make sure that, though we've chosen the RV lifestyle, that we think these are 5 steps to any kind of full-time travel, whether you want to fly around the world on an airplane or sail a boat or have a camper van or whatever it is for you. So let's dive into it. All right, so step number 1 is to research. There are a million people out there full-time traveling, and you can follow them on YouTube or Instagram or all over the place and learn what they've done and what the possibilities are for you. So just number 1, really researching to figure out what's important to you.
Yeah.
For us, we have a dog, and leaving her behind is not an option right now. And so it had to sort of be like some kind of domestic travel where she could go with us. So we were, RV, camper van, or boat kind of thing, and she doesn't like boats. So we're on land for now. And, maybe the idea of living out of your suitcase and being super minimal is exciting to you, and you want to see the more far-flung destinations, and traveling by airplane and staying in Airbnbs and things like that seems exciting, and that's okay too. So just kind of narrowing down what your way of full-time travel is going to be so that you can commit to it.
Yep. Number 2 is commit to a path, whether that be the sailboat, RV, or different type of house. Purchasing it and starting that path, so you have to go. It has to be done, and you just start the ball in motion, and that way you will just start doing the research you need to get to where you need to.
And tell lots of people, because it can't hurt to have some extra social pressure, like forcing you to go. It's like, oh, I told everybody I was buying an RV and hitting the road. Well, I guess I'd better buy the RV and actually hit the road.
Mm-hmm.
Step number 3 is mobile employment, or whatever type of employment you need to find yourself on the road. So for Jameson, it was getting a remote job. For some people, they can pick up travel contracts, especially travel nurses is really common. Or maybe you can do work camping or some sort of temporary gigs that you pick up along the way. Or perhaps you make a YouTube channel that supports you, or any great number of self-employment options. For me, I'm self-employed and I also have a remote job that's part-time. And Jameson has been lucky enough to get a couple of remote jobs even through COVID, and is just kind of continually moving towards schedules that are better.
Yeah, my first remote job that I actually had travel, so that was a part of it. It was about 50% travel, so we had to be close to an airport to be able to go whenever I had to.
Yeah.
But now with my current job, I don't have any travel, and I don't have to be on the phone at all either, which is awesome.
I'm on the phone all the time instead.
Yep. Number 4 is just giving up your sticks and bricks in your traditional house, and that way you'll have to move into the RV or the boat or whatever it is, and then it'll just start the path. So if it's a sailboat, you can be in the local marina, and you can start to ease your way into working out. And same thing with an RV, you could just be in the local RV park in your neighborhood and just get used to the RV, and then do weekend trips to give it a shakedown to get used to moving something that big.
Leases and mortgages are just most people's biggest expense. So we feel like just give it up so you don't have that burden. Step number 5 is really simple. Just hit the road. Just get going. Whatever it takes to take that first step, just take the first step so that you will figure it out. This first step is the scariest, and that's okay. If you just jump in, you'll figure out the rest along the way, and it's okay to not know what the next step is.
Yeah, I mean, our first move that we made with the bus was during COVID, right when it started.
Yep.
And we didn't know what RV parks would be open. We didn't know where we'd be allowed to go. So we only booked one reservation, not knowing where we'd be going to next, with nothing after that. And we just figured it out. And you do just figure it out. You don't need reservations that far in advance most of the time, unless you want to do holiday tourism stuff.
Especially big places like national parks and all that. But we've been on a small town tour for the past year and a half, and it's been good.
Yeah, it's worked out really well. We've been able to be pretty loose with our plans and move when we want to, and pretty much find everything within a day of arriving.
Yeah. So that kind of wraps it up. That's our 5 steps to full-time travel for working age people like us, and we hope this helps you follow your dreams and get on the road or the sea or the jet stream. Whatever is your fancy, we hope you find it.
Thank you.
Back in my face.
That's staying in.